Hey, I'm Elena Deladon, and welcome to the Double Clutch Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, basketball fans of all ages, welcome to the Double Clutch Podcast. My name is Huw Hopkins. Thank you to those of you who listened to the first WNBA edition of the Double Clutch Podcast last week with Isabel Harrison. It was great to get started with WNBA content this year, but this episode I've got a very exciting guest who goes by the name of Karlie Samuelson, who is also a member of the British women's basketball team. We had a pretty brief conversation, but we're really appreciative of her, giving us some of her time, because she's been out with her sister over at the draft and helping her pack up to move to Chicago Sky. So it's a pretty exciting time in the Samuelson household. So I'm going to cut into the interview in just a second, but I just did want to say thanks to all the listeners who have been listening, giving good feedback on the WNBA content. Please make sure you share it around. You can do that on Twitter. You can find us on @DoubleClutchUK. It's the same on Instagram @DoubleClutchUK, or you can search Double Clutch on Facebook, and you can find us there. And also, please make sure you go and give us a rating on whatever podcast player you're listening to. It really helps with search engines and things that I don't know anything about. But yeah, we really appreciate you passing along comments, giving us good ratings. It's all good. We're all about growing NBA in the UK and now WNBA in the UK here at the Double Clutch Podcast. Hey, Karlie.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. How's life? Where are you at the moment?
Great. I'm in Connecticut, actually, with my little sister.
Oh, right, yeah, of course, yeah. I bet that's been a hell of a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, I just am here helping her pack and stuff and getting ready to go home.
Well, pass on our congratulations.
I will, absolutely.
We're all pretty chuffed for, well, both of you guys. How proud were you seeing your little sister get drafted?
Oh, I was shaking. The draft one, it was like a huge deal to even be there, and she looked so pretty, and then she got called fourth. We were like, no way. It was pretty cool.
But I saw you sort of shouting her out when a couple of people weren't necessarily maybe missing her out on big boards and things like that, and I saw you backing her, and
absolutely.
So you obviously thought quite highly of her game and thought that she could go quite high.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in my opinion, she could have gotten one, but that's just me.
Quite frankly, I'm pretty thrilled to have you on the show. We've just sort of started WNBA stuff this year, or certainly the WNBA podcast this year. And having someone like yourself on is, not only WNBA player, which is absolutely fantastic to have a WNBA guest, but also, you've represented Britain, so we can claim you as one of our own. You helped the team get into the EuroBasket. Yeah. So, what was that experience like for you last year?
Wow. For me, playing with Great Britain, it reminded me of, the team chemistry that I had in college. And it, you don't really get that in professional teams, but in the national team, it was something that it just felt like you're playing for something, right? And everyone were playing together, and the girls and Chema, the coach, and all the coaches. It's such a special feeling. It was an amazing experience.
And I've heard from some WNBA coaches, specifically Mike Thibault of the Mystics. I think they're sort of going to be allowing Emma Miesemann to be coming back over for EuroBasket later in the year. I mean, have you broached that with your team yet, or is there any chance you're going to be coming over?
Yeah, I haven't spoken with the Sparks too much yet. Right now I'm just focusing on the camp. Because, WNBA teams are so hard to make as it is. So I'm just training for camp right now, and then I'll see how it goes.
Focus on that a bit later. That's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking about making WNBA teams, I mean, you sort of suffered a bit of an injury a few years ago, which sort of delayed you slightly getting into the league, but last year you got your first experience. It was something like 20 games. Was that everything you wanted it to be?
Oh, yes. It was like living a dream. And honestly, being able to play in LA, where I'm from,
Yeah.
my parents and my sisters got to come to every game. I could get tickets, for all my friends to come to the games, and Staples Center in itself is just unbelievable to play in.
And what about playing alongside people like Candace and Nneka, who are they've both won MVPs, the champions. They are living legends of the game at the moment. What's it like being on the court with such ridiculous talent in that regard?
Exactly. I'm surrounded by legends, and I never envisioned myself even when I was in college, my younger years, I never envisioned myself in the WNBA. I thought it was, not something that I could get to. And when it came down to it, and I got to be on the court with these players, it was a dream, like I said. And they make it so easy for me. Like, all I have to do is, do my thing, stand in the corner, they will find me. Teams have to guard them. And playing with Candace, Nneka, Chelsea, Elena Beard,
Oh yeah,
best defender, best person that I've ever played with. So yeah, they made me a better player, but it makes it so easy being on the court with people like that.
So what are you thinking going into camp this year then? Because you may or may not be able to speak on it, but there's a lot of rumours going around with, Cambage and things like that, perhaps coming over to the team if a trade can be worked out. And it seems like your team has something like 180 players on the roster at the moment, so it's going to be tough. What do you make of the competition you're going up against, and how do you like your chances? How do you like the chances of the team as a whole going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, one, I think the Sparks are going to be a force to be reckoned with, whoever is on the team, because the roster is pretty crazy. Two, yeah, it seems like every year it gets harder and harder to make a roster. Like, there's the talent out there is incredible, and like I said, there's only 12 teams and 12 spots, so it's pretty difficult to be on a team. So, I just focus on training. That's all I can do, and know what I can bring to the team, and hopefully do my best in training camp.
I wanted to briefly touch on, you've also been playing in Europe this year, as a lot of W players do. I had a pretty tough record with casters,
Yeah.
So you must be looking forward to getting back to playing winning basketball with the Sparks.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, we definitely lost a lot of games. But playing in EuroLeague for the first time, it was kind of like my first season in the WNBA. The talent we're playing against, it was crazy. I played against Ekaterinburg, which had, I don't know how many WNBA players, but even beyond that, the other players on the team, I think you've seen them play. It's pretty crazy. But it's playing when you lose. It's you find a different part of yourself. When you keep losing, you just got to keep grinding. So I think it's definitely made me stronger, and it's definitely made me a more confident player playing against these types of players.
Yeah. Like when I was watching the final a few days ago, I think I tweeted at the time that it looks like a WNBA All-Star game,
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we were saying that it should be broadcasted on some TV station because of how many players are playing over there.
Yeah. I know like the WNBA, social feeds were sort of sharing the links, to try and get viewership up. I think it's all done through FIBA, so they control all the broadcast stuff. But it's cool to see the WNBA buy in that way, because so many of their players are going over. I mean, it was obviously crushing to see Breanna Stewart go down. I mean, what do you make of that situation? It must be difficult being a European player yourself, because you want to go over, you want to earn the money, you want to play throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, when I saw that I saw it happen, my heart just hurt for her. Like, the season that she's coming off of too, and how she's played. It's just, you don't ever want to see anybody go down, but the best player in the world right now, I would say, to go down, and like you said, I go play overseas, and my goals and play in the WNBA, play for Team GB, and you put in so much time through these seasons, and it's tough. Playing year round is tough on the body, and I feel for her. So I hope she's gonna come back better. But a lot of players, that happens to a lot of players, and then they have to sit out their WNBA seasons or whatever it is. So it's tough.
It's been a topic of conversation for years, I think. But, with Breanna Stewart, the fact that she's the MVP, the fact that she's one of the most unstoppable women on the planet right now, I think that's really going to hit home. And I was having a conversation with someone on the Double Clutch Slack channel earlier today, and who was asking a bit about it. And, I was sort of saying, well, maybe, there's a collective bargaining agreement coming up at the end of this season in the WNBA. Perhaps this is going to be a turning point. But at the same time, I just think there are just such big things to sort out for the league. But at the same time, it is one of the best leagues. It is probably the greatest concentration of women's basketball talent, I reckon, even if it is for only 4 or 5 months of the year. It feels like everybody enjoys EuroLeague and everybody loves playing in international tournaments. But at the same time, certainly for the American players, would you say the WNBA is still the peak, is still where you want to play?
I mean, I would say yes. For me, just because it's where I'm from. I'm born and raised in California, and I'm fortunate enough to play in LA. So for me, being able to play, and have a job where I can be at home for those months of the year, that's my, my dream, and I get to be around my family more. So I would say that's why. And one, yeah. Two, the talent it's incredible. EuroLeague talent as well. It's just right up there too. But I think a lot of people would say that if you could play where you're from in a really good league, that's, I think, what you would choose.
So we spoke a little bit earlier about playing for Britain. Now, Katie Lou, she's just been drafted as one of the top prospects going into the WNBA. She's probably got an opportunity to maybe even play for USA in the future or whatever. But is there anything you can do to coax her to come over to play for the British team?
I mean, I think that would be one. I would, of course, try to convince her to do that. Playing with her it's the best. I haven't got to play with her since high school. But I think she definitely has her goals, I think, of playing with the U.S. Olympic team. And, she's so young. So who knows? Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if she... I think she's in the pool for the trials and stuff, but yeah, that would be pretty fun. Regardless, if I get her to play with GB, that would be great. But if she makes the US team, we should set up a matchup right there. That would be awesome.
Definitely bring the US team over to the UK. Yes. We can set up an exhibition. I was putting together an article that is going to be sort of published in the next few weeks about UK talent, or at least players who perhaps are born in the UK or grow up in the UK or have gone via the UK to be playing in the NBA and the WNBA. What do you make of the talent on the rest of the British team? Of course, Temi is playing for the Lynx, but there's players like Leadham and Van der Waal. What would you rate their chances of coming over to the WNBA at some point?
I mean, I think you got Joey, Rachel, little Steph, Chantel, Handy, Temi for sure. I mean, we have a really good squad, and playing with them, it makes you realize the talent out there in Europe and just on this GB team alone. I think we could give it, every single person on that team could have an opportunity to make a team. It's all about, your chances. And I say this all the time. The spots on the WNBA teams are so small. It's like, it's all about timing and opportunity sometimes. And I think if they got a chance to come over, and they absolutely could be on a team. It's just all about getting that roster spot.
It feels like there's always a greater talent pool than there are roster spaces in the WNBA, because I mean, also you have 3 rounds of a draft every year, and I think, not to get into too many comparisons with the NBA, but I believe they only have 2 rounds, and they've got, quadruple the amount of roster spots available. And Yeah, it just feels like there is room for expansion. Do you think you'd like to see some additional cities setting up teams over in the W?
Absolutely. Like I said, every year it seems like it's harder and harder to make a roster spot, and that's because the talent is increasing every year. And the pool of players, for example, I played against Maureen Johannes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
New York just signed her, and
She's crazy good.
oh, she's crazy good, and she's just one example of a European player that's coming over. But not only Europeans, the whole world. But like you said, this young talent coming up is so good. I absolutely would love to see more teams in the WNBA to open up those roster spots, get more games, and it's just more games to watch. It's better.
I veered off. I did have a set question. I veered slightly off it, going down the WNBA route again. But going back to your GB experience, I mean, your older sister Bonnie, I believe, tried out for the Olympic team, or
She never actually came and tried out. Her plans were to, and then she broke her finger. Yeah.
Oh, right, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys sort of, register as British, I guess, through your mother's side. Is that correct? And
Yeah, my mom is from Sunderland. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you, apart from playing, before all that, did you ever come over to the UK to visit family over here, or?
My mom actually, she took my sister Bonnie back when she was 1 year old, and then my first time going was 2 years ago. I wasn't with the GB team yet, but it was a little before that, and it was her first time back in 20 years actually. And
Wow.
she showed me her old house, like where she met my dad, where she went to school in Durham, and it was pretty cool to see her, see how everything's changed, and just see her childhood. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
she's an athlete too, right? She played netball for the country?
Yeah, she played netball back in the day.
Cool. But you decided to go down the basketball route.
Yeah. Netball's not as popular in California.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's getting more popular over here at the moment. The channel that has the sort of broadcasting rights to the WNBA also has broadcasting rights to different netball leagues. So it's cool to see, all these sort of non-British sports traditionally sort of, getting this extra limelight. Let's say you end up making the team. I mean, fingers crossed for you. We're all pulling for you over this side of
Thank you.
this side of the Atlantic. How do you see this season going? I mean, obviously Stewie's just gone down. You guys look like you're reloading to make a big push, but you've also got Maya Moore is sort of taking a sabbatical from the league this year, and it seems like there's a definite power shift about to happen. What are the main teams that you think could make a real push towards the playoffs and indeed to a championship this season?
I mean, I think the Sparks are going to be pretty tough to beat. We won the championship, or they won the championship 2 years ago, and last year we had an okay season, but yeah, I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. But Stewie is a huge loss for Seattle. It's a huge loss for the whole league. No one wants to see the MVP go down, but Seattle's still going to be tough to beat. Atlanta's really good. They got a bunch of people back from last year. And Connecticut. I mean, the league is so good to see how many teams are competitive. Last year, I don't remember how many times, but the rankings, they were like within one day you could go from 8th to 4th or 3rd. It was crazy. Yeah. So that just shows, I think, how competitive it is.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you have young teams like I'm a big fan of the Aces.
Yeah, Aces. Yeah, I didn't mention Phoenix too. Phoenix is going to be tough to beat, but Aces for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there's something definitely happening over in Las Vegas at the moment, especially with yet another top pick. But I think it's going to be a pretty fascinating season. I guess one last thing before I know we're pushed for time a little bit, so I really appreciate you coming on. But you guys have a new coach this year, at Los Angeles legend. Have you had a chance to meet with Derek Fisher yet? Have you, or I guess you will do when we're going through the trials for the team and things like that. But What's your take on him joining another legendary Los Angeles franchise?
Yeah, no, I've met with him a few times now. I've spoken with him quite a bit. I'm excited about it. He's an awesome person. I'm excited to see how he is as a coach, and just get like his level of experience. I think he can help so much, and he understands the game and knows it as a player. So I'm excited about it.
Cool. Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Yeah, we're all going to be pulling for you. We're all
thank you so much.
We're all eagerly anticipating what's going to be happening with that Cambage trade if anything comes off. And of course,
I think the whole world is, yeah.
And of course, Derek Fisher as well. It's going to be, Los Angeles is always drama, isn't it? It's always Hollywood.
It is Hollywood, that's for sure.
Cool. Well, Karlie, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You.
And but best of luck for this season.
Thank you so much.
So that was the Double Clutch WNBA podcast with Karlie Samuelson. A big thank you to her for making the time, and also a big shout out to her sister Katie Lou Samuelson, who got drafted 4th in the WNBA draft this year. There's going to be big things for that family, and we're going to look forward to following them throughout the season. You can follow us at Double Clutch UK on Twitter and on Instagram. Find us on Facebook at Double Clutch, and also make sure you give us a few cool ratings on whatever podcast player you're listening to, and be sure to stay tuned to doubleclutch.uk, the website, because we've got a bunch of WNBA content going up, and of course it's in the NBA. Of course it's playoff season, so everybody's uploading loads of playoff content. It's all happening. It's all exciting. And we want you to just keep reading and sharing and enjoying. That's why we're doing it. But for now, see you later.